Marvel Spider-Man, created by Insomniac Games, released for the PlayStation 4 Pro in 2018. I originally played it in 2019, I believe, on the PS4 Pro, and I absolutely loved it. And I hate most superhero things nowadays, but Marvel Spider-Man I absolutely loved. It was breathtakingly original and unique to it being a Spider-Man game. It's a full-fledged cinematic epic experience. Now, after its release date, so fast forward 2 years later in 2020, we got Marvel Spider-Man Remastered for the PS5. Now, it's 2023 and I was finally able to play it for the first time ever. Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, the exact same game but remastered, and it's the Game of the Year edition, so it includes all of the goody DLC story missions and everything. I played through mostly just the main story. And even in the main story for the remastered, you still do tidbits of the side quests and even characters for the DLC. So I got a little taste of everything. And like I said, on PS4 Pro, Marvel Spider-Man, I absolutely loved that game already. Here on PS5, no difference. I loved Marvel Spider-Man Remastered for PS5. I just loved how breathtakingly cinematic and epic the story is, especially in the third act and the very end of it is so cinematic, such great acting, voice acting, motion capturing, just the whole shebang. Honestly, by the end of Remastered, I never thought of this playing the original version, but at the end of Remastered, I was seriously thinking to myself, this game is made even more cinematic and just all around better than superhero movies in cinema. Like even the Spider-Man movies, even Deadpool, Iron Man, all that shit. Marvel Spider-Man for PS5 supersedes all expectations for superhero stories. Now the remastered version comes with updated visuals and audio. Mostly it's the PS5's HDR features where, just like God of War Ragnarok, where it was basically God of War 2018 put on a new gen, that's basically what Marvel Spider-Man Remastered is, and that's not a bad thing at all. That's an excellent thing because Marvel Spider-Man Remastered honestly had the exact same lighting texture and concept as God of War Ragnarok. Turn HDR mode on and all of the ray tracing and shit, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered looks like a 2023 PS5 game. No doubt about it. It honestly held up almost comparable to God of War Ragnarok and the like. I loved every single bit of Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, mainly the story and the acting within it, and the writing is actually witty as well. Honestly, they superseded my expectations for the writing of a Spider-Man game's story in that you kind of expected quippy one-liners in it, but not the kind that we were actually given, and the kind we were given in the game actually had some intelligence behind them. You also not only play as Peter Parker, you also get shades of Miles Morales, Mary Jane, and within those side quests of the main story, you also get like a varied amount of gameplay. Like Peter Parker, Spider-Man's gameplay is basically mostly attack on command. And then a lot of Miles Morales's and all of Mary Jane's gameplay missions are stealth. You get the stealth in Spider-Man's gameplay every now and again, but mostly it's a button masher, which is fine because for the game that's all around it, it works mostly well enough for that kind of gameplay. Honestly, I think Marvel Spider-Man Remastered finds all of its strides more so in the stealth segments, and that's odd for me to say because while I do like stealth games, I'm not particularly good with most of them, but I loved my time in every stealth mission in Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. Now, I do have gripes with this game. The number one being just the text in everything. The interface, the pause menu, everything. The text is super fucking small. And honestly, it's not even this game, and I've had this problem ever since booting up my PS5 about 3 weeks ago. A lot of games on the PS5, they really, really have shrunk the text in everything. Except, I will admit, the pause menu, the resume game, manual save, that interface looks fine and normal size. Everything else is shrunk down so much that honestly you can't even read it. It's unreadable unless you literally get up in there on your TV and really focus. And that's not a good thing, because having to do that is actually also really bad for your eye health. And also it just kind of takes you out of the experience. And then another problem I had with Marvel Spider-Man Remastered for PS5, the camera gets extremely wonky, mostly in fighting segments. Now, I kind of adjusted my gameplay style and just figured it out where whenever I would zip line to an enemy, I'd just kind of immediately start turning the camera to face just the other direction, regardless if an enemy was on the other side or not. That worked well for me for the most part. It got me to be able to press triangle and zip over again to another enemy. But if I didn't do that, the camera just kind of went all wonky and berserk everywhere, all over the place. And then another gripe I have is, thank God for fast travel, because while I do appreciate the attention to detail in swinging around on the webs, in that you get too high, you press the button, you actually can't shoot anything because there's really nothing there. You have to wait until you're below at least one thing to zip a web. But in doing so, throughout the entire game, it gets extremely repetitious in the sense of swinging around is mostly the same motions. Even in the attacking segments, you honestly got a lot of the same motions, especially in the finishers. But essentially, that's really all I have bad to say about Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. Honestly, at the end of the day, if you want an extremely cinematic experience on PS5, hands down, I'd say God of War Ragnarok and Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. Honestly, for the cinematics and experience, they're actually on the same pedestal for the experience. They're just like Avatar as a movie experience in theaters. Overall, for me, I still loved Marvel Spider-Man Remastered for PS5. It looked even better. Honestly, it felt even more cinematic because of the breathtaking visuals and audio. But I do believe, if I recall correctly, I didn't have those problems back on the PS4 Pro era. And so, on PS4 Pro, remembering correctly, I would probably have given Marvel Spider-Man on PS4 Pro a 9 out of 10. And honestly, that's the same review I would give the Remastered, a 9. If it didn't have those extra problems that I didn't feel were there in the PS4 version, the PS5 version could have been a 10 out of 10. No doubt about it. But because it added in some extra problems, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered for PS5, sadly, but also it's still a good thing, is a 9 out of 10. Thank you.